Hello. You are created by God and loved by your Creator. If you are stumbling across this YouTube channel, you have found Deborah-Naomi Thomas, and I am posting content to capture information that I want to read, write, or speak about at a later date. And I can hardly believe it for those of you who follow me and are listening to these long-winded videos of me chatting about things in my life that seem to maybe not have any context or continuity to them. I am learning a great deal, so I want to thank you for your support. And the intention with all this content is that I took the advice of Sean Cannell at the beginning of this year. You can look him up on YouTube. And he said, hey, it takes about 35 videos for the algorithm to pick up any of your content. And so as a discipline, I've been sharing this content and posting just to get used to being in front of a camera, but also challenging myself with figuring out what do I want to talk about, what do I want to share with my audience, and how do I want to make a contribution to others by first seriously contributing to myself and giving out of my overflow. So today you found me in a season of reflection. And today I kind of want to talk about scheduling, agendas, and codependency. How does all that go together and why does it matter? So first, I always like to start out with some gratitude. And what I'm really thankful for as I'm in this season of reflection is really being thankful for the fact that I've had scheduling tools, resources, and mechanisms at my disposal probably since, how long have I been doing this kind of rigorous planning? Probably for the better part of what'll almost be 15 years, maybe 20 years, maybe longer. And I'm thankful for them because they've kept me safe. They've allowed me to see where my yes is a yes and my no is a no, and anything that's not that is just utter chaos. And you can see it spilled out across the pages of a planner. So it's given me a deeper relationship to what I say I'm going to do with my mouth versus the action that I actually take. So I'm thankful for systems, processes, mechanisms, all that kind of stuff that's kind of kept me honest. And so I am leveling it up for the year of 2023. So today I want to talk about this idea and this concept called the 12-week year. A girlfriend got me turned on to it. She reached out to me probably about a month and a half ago or so and was like, hey, Deb, this is something I'm doing. It's the 12-week year. And the sound of it, just something just lit up, triggered, fired off, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, I need to know more. So she shared a little bit more about me, about the 12-week year with me. So since I have a copy of the book here and I'm getting my planners and calendars set up for this, here it is, everybody. The 12-week year. This book is an absolutely fascinating read. I think what makes it most interesting is the fact that the idea behind breaking the year up into quarters is taken on with rigor in the fact that instead of looking at having 1 year with 4 quarters, you actually take on each quarter as a year. So it's the nuance of it that is really critical, because you're not just dealing with 4 quarters. What's the big deal? It's 4 quarters. Can't you just operate? No, there's a thought process behind this. So if you're able to get a hard copy of the book, I highly recommend it. There is also what I will attach below in the comments underneath is I will post a summary of the 12-week year that I found on YouTube, and I will also post the audiobook. So I think the audiobooks are worth listening to because you can listen to the audiobook, and if you have a hard copy of the book, you can actually take notes while you're listening to the audio, but at least it's read at a cadence and a pace so you get through it. However, I'm going to let you know right now, the audiobook reader, he's a little dry for my liking. There's not a whole lot of expressiveness in the voice and tone and, excitement. But it's definitely a voice reading the content. But if you want to go to sleep, put it on. Otherwise, you might need to break it up into like 15, 25-minute increments to get through the 5 hours of the audiobook. but the content itself is a wealth of knowledge. I highly recommend, highly recommend exploring it and at least trying on the mindset for size to see what there is to gain. I am actually looking to acquire a mindset that will support me through grad school while also wanting to be a business owner. I know it sounds like a terrible idea, but I am wired for struggle. I'm also wired for really big wins. So I'm not as intimidated by it. But I do know for me to be able to make it happen, I've got to like take it on right now and, get some things into a rhythm so that when I add on new things, I'm not like completely thrown off my square. So here's where I'm coming from. I am coming from having bought this massive planner on Amazon. This thing's huge, 12 by 12. Oh my gosh, 12 by 12 on Amazon. Now, I bought it this big, not knowing it would really be this big. And I really kind of thought to myself, you know what? I need to lay some stuff out because after 2020, I just refuse to buy planners that are cute. I just can't do it. If it's cute with too many stickers, I can't. I love the idea of it, but it's just not practical. Here's the deal. Either I'm going to look cute keeping a planner, or my planner will have me intentionally put what I need to put on it so I can arrive to my appointments completely set up and ready to go. And I figured what's more important, that my planner look cute like I'm doing something or actually go do something. So I'm going to go for actually go do something. Cute will have to catch up later. So I used every leftover available sticker to post all over the thing. I mean, I had a good time decorating it. So that's what got me started, is I moved away from cute planners and things that were, supposedly getting the job done. and they did. They did. I love scheduling, organizing, structuring mechanisms. But I just needed something that was really practical. And so a friend had asked me, what do you do to get yourself scheduled and organized? How do you schedule yourself? And in the question that he asked me, I over answered. And then I realized I should post about this, because as I was answering him, I began to realize that the majority of the structures I put in place to give my word to something and then write it down on paper where I could keep myself committed to it was also showing up as practical mechanisms for managing my relationships to people, relationships that I feel safe in or relationships that are unsafe for me, relationships I feel healthy in or relationships that occur for me as unhealthy, to be able to sort myself out and to measure and allot my time to give my emotional, mental, and physical energy in areas that were appropriate. So scheduling and organizing for me and getting my commitments on paper is not just a matter of keeping my word. It's also a matter of managing my mental, emotional, and physical energy. So this is a little bit of a follow-up to my 12-step recovery. I'm exploring and uncovering practices I have put in place that I didn't realize were even practices for my own emotional well-being, especially my emotional energy, and giving myself to people and giving my word to obligations and commitments, vetting them appropriately, knowing what the priority was, what was most important, why did it matter, why was I going to say yes, and figuring out when and how to say yes to things. So 12-week years, a new adventure for that. I think I'll have more to say about that probably in the new year. But for right now, I just want to introduce to you what I'm doing. And today is a little bit of a red letter day, which is why I decided to talk about 12-week year today. Because one, I've been saying I was going to talk about this area of my life where I realized scheduling and planning is a way that I manage my relationships. Today, I was talking to someone because in my journaling this morning, I wrote down how I'm managing my relationship to people to make sure that the people that I said matter are people that I'm giving my time and energy to. There are so many people that I would love to share myself with, even using this YouTube platform as a way of sharing myself with people. And there are so many friends that I would love to spend more time with. And if I'm not managing myself well, as I am slowing down the pace of my life in the new year, there are just things that are going to naturally get squeezed out because I just won't have space to give myself time, for that. But it doesn't mean that those people, those places, those events all of that stuff, it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. I just have to really be clear about where I'm giving my time and energy. And I'm really feeling the call to just kind of slow down significantly. So like I said, today was a little bit of a red letter day because I launched the 12-week year group that I'm participating with. So there's a group of about 8 of us, and I'm not really sure how this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I do know this. I love doing things in community. I love finding, groups of people who can rally around the same idea or concept to explore something and have a conversation about it. I want to do that for so many different areas of life. So as I'm reflecting in this season, I'm discovering, where do I want to give my time? How do I want to do that? One of the other things I did during this season of reflection for me is I wrote out the skeleton, so to speak, like just the bare bone structure of what I want in terms of launching myself as a brand. This takes time and energy. It's absolutely crazy. So anyway, I'm excited about my life, but let me share this with you here. I got a smaller version of that same appointment book. Of course, I've got it labeled my 12-week year, but it is for the calendar year of 2023. Like, I should be honest, that's really what's happening. The calendar year of 2023, and of course, I've got 23, 24, 25, and 26. Of course, I blinged it out with stickers and then did Mod Podge over the front to make sure it all stayed. And it's a little bit of a hot mess. No, it doesn't look perfect, but it's mine, and it makes me happy, and it lets me know that I've actually designed something that I'm willing to commit myself to. So I'm really excited about what I'm celebrating, and I love this appointment book. In case you guys need to know where to find it, it's on Amazon. It's really simple. You can see it goes from 6 a.m. all the way down to 9 p.m. or 9:59 p.m. And it's really just a great resource. It's simple. I can write my own dates in because it doesn't have the dates put in yet. You just have the appointments of it all. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. So that's the concept I'm trying on. So a little bit more about the piece about the codependency. For me, I had to really get clear about why did keeping an appointment book matter. The thing for me is that, for example, this holiday season, we're currently in December of 2022 when I'm making this video. And the thing that I've noticed for me is that I get deeply, deeply triggered in my hurts, habits, and hangups, especially around the holiday season. And that starts for me September 15th through about January 15th. Now, if I tell the honest to goodness truth, as many skills as I've acquired doing 12-step recovery, doing therapy, deepening my faith journey, reading excellent resources, I have gained a myriad of tools, and I'm thankful for them. However, the holiday season is kind of like, let me draw this analogy. Superman, you guys know, of course, the character Superman. He comes from the planet, Krypton, and when he goes there, anytime he's in touch with kryptonite, his powers are diminished. Well, the change of environment at the holiday season is like kryptonite for me, even though I've got all the tools to manage my codependency. I just find that the environment of the season just takes a toll on me, and I have to really guard how I give my word, what I say yes to, what I'm going to do. And so I struggle with it. I really, really struggle with it. And so for me, I'm just noticing, what does it take for me to have my yes be yes and my no be no, and then honor relationships first by managing how I honor myself, and then allowing that to radiate out from me by setting very strong boundaries and setting them in the context of love and of grace, so that people have room to be who they are, and I get permission to be who I am in my own skin, in my own context, on my own terms. So it's a big deal for me. So when I look at my planner, I'm looking at, what am I giving my word to? It's easy to allow the urgent to override the important. And it's critical for me that important gets on my calendar. It's easy for me that in the pace of life to allow the speed of it all, especially the rhythm we keep here in the US. It's not like this everywhere in the world. There are other parts of the country that operate at a much slower pace. I'm not interested in ramping up. I'm intentionally bringing slowing into my life. If anyone's read the book by John Mark Comer, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, I've been taking that book on with intention and with rigor since I read that book over 2 years ago, I think. And I am still putting those things into practice. So I guess what I'm saying here is that there are aspects of who I am as a person that, as much as someone else sees gifts, talents, or resources in me, if I don't intentionally show up where I want to be in my life for myself, in my own context, on my own terms, then I'm going to find myself living at the pace someone else has set, operating and doing things with my gifts and talents that someone else thinks that I need to do, and then doing them in such a way that does not leave me at the source of being satisfied or fulfilled in what I've accomplished. That is not living. I don't know what that's called. And if any of you come up with a word for it, please drop it in the comments. But what I know for myself is that it matters to me that I show up fulfilling the things that I'm called to do. Again, my favorite passage for the last few years has been Ephesians 2:10. I am his workmanship created in Christ Jesus to do good works that he's already prepared for me in advance that I should walk in them. I need to walk in my gifting and my calling. So where I give my word to, what my calendar looks like, should be a reflection of that. So coming back to the planner. So moving away from the codependency side and moving into, if I've set healthy boundaries, how am I now living in the freedom that those boundaries have created? And so the freedom gets cultivated on the planner itself. So what I do in life is I sit down in seasons of reflections. I look at what matters, what's important, what am I committing myself to? Those are things that go on the planner first. If there are commitments or things I feel like God has put on my heart for me to do and actions for me to take consistent with my faith values, what I'm committed to and what matters to the heart of God and the kingdom of God, and seeing the kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven, as it talks about in the Lord's Prayer in the New Testament, then I've got to make those things a priority. In essence, when I go to create my planner, I want to make sure that I've placed all the areas God's asked me to walk, go, do, fulfill, obey, commit, follow through, whatever it is. I want to make sure that those get on the calendar first. And then there's the other things that go on the calendar, like my work, what I've been gifted to do, my obligations and commitments, all the things that I've already asked God, hey, what's on that agenda for me? And then from there, it radiates out. So the core things on the planner are, what has God called me to? Am I fulfilling on that? And then after that are the things that can be expected of me as I live in relationship to community and that are appropriate. So then, and at rhythms that are appropriate. And then from there, I'm looking at social events, friends who have asked to hang out, those kinds of things. I know for me, going on my calendar most critically is going to be something around anything launching my own business or launching as a brand. That's something that's really dear to my heart, close to my heart, figuring that out. All of this is being done in the context of preparing to move to Dallas, Texas. Still don't know what that timeline is, but I do know that the forward momentum to get me there are continuing to take actions consistent with the things that I know are on the heart of God for me and that I value. So with that being the case, there's that. Then I've got relationships and people that I mentor, people who are mentors to me, things that I need to read, books. And I talked about my book list over Thanksgiving. It's a big book list. Just little things that I know that I need to accomplish, appointments to keep, disciplines to put into place, and then checking on those with frequency. The 12-week year format is going to let me do that, because a 12-week year, it's literally 12 weeks completes a year. So every week is a month. So the level of rigor that comes into that is, if you only had a 7-day month, what would you accomplish? So for me, I'm really excited about having shorter periods of time that are hyper focused, but I can design them at a cadence and at a pace of grace that makes a difference for me. I definitely want to say more about this going into the new year. I have no idea how this is going to work. I could completely faceplant on this project, but I will say this. moving at the speed of grace and slowing so that you can show up 100% for yourself and then give to others out of your overflow. I love that Crystal Evanshurst says that. Out of the abundance, that is going to be where the real essence of life sits, because you'll actually have allowed something to sit and cultivate it so that you have something to give to others. So I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for listening. Bye.